So hi guys, good morning all of you. Guys, I'm audible. Okay, right. So the multiple rows how to fetching here. Okay, by using simple loop and by using for loop. Okay, the two looping statements we discuss how to fetch multiple rows from your cursor. Yes or no? The next one is called as the third looping is called as the looping number 3. Okay, by using for loop. So come to for loop. Okay, this loop is also you can use as here to fetch your multiple rows from your table. For example, the first of all for loop syntax you just observe. Okay, this is our for loop. So the for loop, carefully observe the syntax is what it was telling for loop means. By default, it is incrementing by 1. By default, it is incrementing by 1. Okay, no? Right. So, and the syntax is what now guys here for, okay. So one index variable or variable name, in is a predefined statement, starting value, ending value. So starting value, ending value represented from so and so value to so and so value. From which value to which value we need to go for uh, to print. Okay, so for example, I said if you want to print 100 numbers, then starting value 1, ending value 100. Okay, if you want to print 50 numbers, then starting value 1 and ending value 50. Yes or no? So like this, starting and ending value we represent. And after that, the loop and they are executing statements and end the loop. Okay. Now let me come out guys here. So on this, now I will be work here and to take one example on this, the for loop mechanism. Okay, this is our table. And now for loop, how to use the up. So now I'm going to, first of all, declaring my cursor memory. That means cursor variable. So declare cursor p1. So we select your required column from emp table. So after that, we need to start here directly begin statement because we have no need to declare your variables. Okay, because directly that variable we are declaring under for loop. Okay, for loop and okay, under for loop we are declaring directly variable. So that's why no need again specially to declare ename and salary variables. Okay, right. And after begin, one for loop advantage is what now guys here. Whenever we want to use a for loop statement, okay, then what happened? There is no need to, okay, open cursor connection, okay, fetching data and closing cursor connection. So open, fetch, close. So these things will be explicitly user no need to give it here or no need to write here. So explicitly user no need to open, explicitly user no need to fetch your data, explicitly user no need to close. Why sir user no need to write these statements when I'm using for loop means because of reason internally when I'm using internally automatically implicitly your system is going to be open your cursor connection, your system will automatically fetching your data and automatically closing your data. So that's why open, fetch, close, these three statements we can't write when we are using for loop by explicitly because internally your database server will take that responsibility to open cursor connectivity to fetching the data, to closing the cursor connection. So these are automatically written by implicitly by your database server. Okay, so that's why we don't want to go for this. Directly we need to go for, and here I is the variable. In this I variable, okay, ename and column salary, ename and the salary columns will be storing. So that's why no need to separate declaration for ename and salary, because these columns data we are storing under our predefined variable is what now I. That means already I we are declaring in the for loop only. Okay, this is our variable. In here what next, starting value, ending value. But here I'm going to fetching data from a cursor table. So in my cursor table, that means in my table, how many rows are there? We don't know. Yes or no? So your table is having 100 rows. If your table is having 100 rows, then your starting value 1, ending value 100. Suppose your table is having 50 rows, your starting value 1, ending value 50. Suppose your table is having 14 rows, then your starting value 1 and the ending value 14. So that means the data wise your number of rows will be changes. Okay, we can't fix now. We can't fix my table is having always 100 rows only. I can't fix now. So maybe 100 rows above will be there, maybe below was there, maybe equals to is there. Yes or no? So that's why we can't measurement that. We can't say my table is having so many rows. Okay, now my table is having these many number of rows. I can't say because my table is that's feature. Some tables are having 100 rows. Some tables are having 50 rows. Some tables are having 10 rows. Okay, so that's why the based on the table, some table is having big data, small data, or very few rows are there. Okay, like this, we can't decide what is starting value, what is ending value. That's why what you have to use in the starting and ending, whatever these two columns data are you fetching from the table EMP, retrieval from the EMP and storing under this memory. So that memory have to pass C1. That memory you have to pass C1. So C1 is nothing but what now? Cursor memory. C1 is what nothing but cursor memory. So that means in this cursor, okay, in this cursor table, your table is having how many rows? For example, your table is having 100 rows. Then your cursor will take 1.100 automatically. In your cursor table, having 100 rows, then starting value 1, ending value 100. Suppose your cursor is having 50 rows, then it will take a 1 comma 50. Okay, now so your cursor is having, okay, your cursor table is having how many rows present in my table? 14. So that means starting value 1, ending value 4. So that means automatically, okay, when you mention C1, then in C1 memory, whatever the table you kept, those table is having how many rows, automatically that starting and ending value will be set. Understanding that? So for example, here which table I'm going to storing into C1 memory EMP. EMP how many is there? 14. So that means internally C1 is nothing but 1 to 14. C1 is nothing but 1 to 14. My point understanding, guys? C1 is nothing but 1 to 14. Okay, na? Right. So in that way, automatically it will be taken. Okay, C1. And after that, I need to start my loop, and one by one, I want to print on my screen. So what is here? I. So because my main variable is I. In this I, we are storing what now? Ename column. So that means I dot ename. Concatenation, comma, concatenation, I dot salary. Okay, in the main variable, your data will be storing. So from there, I'm going to call. Okay, right. And after printing now one by one, now later what it will do? End your loop. Okay, and after that, end your begin statement. So it's very simple. So now it was displaying 1, 2, means multiple rows are displayed. But how it was working means here, observe. How it was working means, yes. Suppose this is what? So ename column, okay, as usual, ename and salary column, we are retrieval from EMP table, and these columns data we are storing under C1, okay, memory, C1 memory. In C1 memory, it will be stored. Okay, now fine. And now let me come out here. Now for loop is started. For I in C1. C1 means what now here? 1 to 14 rows. C1 means what it is now? 1 to 14 rows. Okay, now. So that means 1 to 14 employees names are there, 14 employees salaries are there. Okay, 1 to 14. Okay, first here it will take which row it was fetching first from your C1 memory automatically. First row is fetching. So this first row fetching from C1 memory and the row data storing under I variable. Okay, now first row in my cursor memory table. First row. What is my first row? Employee name is Smith and employee salary 800. So this information, the first row information is fetching from C1 and storing under I variable. Understand now? I variable. Then after enter and print. So I variable printing. I dot here I variable there now. So this is reference here. I dot ename, I dot salary. So that I dot ename, I dot salary was displaying in the okay out of the screen. So it was displaying in the screen. Understand now? Yeah. First row. So first row is displayed. But here tell me your for loop by default incrementing by 1. Yes or no? Increment automatically incrementing by 1. So your first row is taken and printing displayed. So 1 plus 1 means what is the next row? Second row. 1 plus 1 because 1 is a by default increment. Okay, automatically by default incrementing by 1 for loop. So we don't want to give any increments here. Automatically by default 1 increment. So here first row 1. 1 plus 1 2. Second row. Second row data fetching storing under I. And those I will be printing here. Next, 2 plus 1, 3, third row. So 2 plus 1, 3, third row is fetching and storing into I and I is displayed. So next, fourth row, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 1, 5, 5 plus 1, 6, 6 plus 1, 7, 7 plus 1, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. So 9 plus 1, 10, 10 plus 1, 11, 11 plus 1, 12, 12 plus 1, 13, 13 plus 1, 14. Then 14th record fetching. So finally 14th record fetching and storing under I. And that I value 14th row printed successfully. The 14th row printed successfully. After, so that means your ending value is what now? 14. Your ending value is 14. So once the ending value 14 will be fetching, then immediately your loop is break automatically. Okay, because the end value is reached. We reached end value. So once it was reaching end value, okay, what is your end of the row in your table under cursor memory? So that end of the table is called the 14th row. So once 14th row is fetching, then later there is no increment here. There is no increment here. Then automatically your loop will be break out and come outside. Okay, now right. So this is the way our loop is going to be executing, guys. Okay, now this is for loop. So these are the three looping statements. Whenever you want to fetching multiple rows, okay, compulsory. These are three loops. Any one loop you can use it as your wish. Okay, as your wish. Anyone you can use it. So these are single row fetching statement from the cursor as well as multiple row fetching statements from the cursor. Okay, right. And the next one is observe. Parameterized cursor. Parameterized cursor. So in the previous examples, if you see whatever your cursor we declared, so here we declared cursor. But tell me guys, we are passing any parameters along with my cursor here, or else here, okay, or else here. Here also we are not passing any parameters. So in these examples, if you see, we are not sending any parameters along with my cursor. So these examples you can see, we are not passing any parameters along with cursor. Okay, just a cursor variable is declared. Just we declare cursor variable, but we are not passing any parameters along with cursor. So that means these are normal and default cursors we call. But whenever you want to pass parameters along with cursor, then it is called as a parameterized cursor. Okay, for example, in your java.net, you have a constructors. So constructors are what now? Default constructors are there. Parameterized constructors are there. So whenever you're passing arguments to your constructor, then the constructor is called as a parameterized constructors. Yes or no? If you're not passing any parameters to my constructor, then that is a default constructor we call. So how we can call without parameters, default constructor, with parameters, parameterized constructor. Yes or no? So already you know in the front end side. Okay, same like definition here also. When you're passing parameters along to my cursor, when you're passing parameters, then it is called a parameterized cursor. If you're not passing parameters, then it is called a default cursors. Okay, na? So these examples are default cursors because we are not passing any parameters here. But what parameterized cursor telling us? So when you pass parameters along with cursor declaration, then it is called as a parameterized cursors we call. Okay. So what it was telling us here? Okay. When we passing parameters to the cursor to the cursor. Okay, to cursor. Then we call as parameterized cursor. Parameterized cursor. Okay, na? Right. So the syntax is what? How to create parameterized? Parameterized means there are two steps are there, guys. Okay. Step one syntax. First, I have to declare parameterized cursor. Declare parameterized cursor. So in this declaration, okay, fine, guys. We have a syntax is what now? Same syntax. Syntax will never change. Just a passing parameter. So declare cursor name. Declare cursor name along with here I'm passing parameter. So parameter name, and so as usual, this parameters belongs to the type of data type answer. That's it. And remaining same is command, and we have to write your selector. Okay, this is your first statement. So declaration of parameterized cursor. Okay, suppose in the select statement we are going to be writing. Okay, second one, step number 2. After declaration of parameterized cursor, now what I want to do, I need to open. Okay, the second one is called as open parameterized cursor. Then simple open name of your parameterized means you have to send your parameters name you have to send. Okay, na? Right. So these are the two steps, guys. These are the two steps we need to remember whenever you want to create a parameterized cursor. Okay. So one example on this object. So come out and see, guys, here. The example is what now? What is my programming here? Suppose my example, write a cursor program. Okay, to accept department number. Okay, as a parameter, and display the number of employee details from EMP table. Okay, so what is here? To accept department number. I want to write a cursor program to accept department number as a parameter and display number of employee details from EMP table. So that means in that particular department number, how many number of employees are working, those employee details are I want to display. Okay, now those employee details I want to display. Okay, right. Let you come out. So first of all, this is my table. Okay, this is. And in this table, okay, there are 14 employees, and here you can you see here department number is there. Department number is there. So department number is having some 20, 30, 10. So some department numbers that we have. So from this department number, which number user is entered or which number user want to give it. In that department number, how many employees are working, those employee details I have to display. Okay, now? Now let me see. So dictate cursor C1. Yes, here I'm passing parameter. What is my parameter? DPT number. It's a number data. Okay, now? So here, at the time of cursor declaration, guys, at the time of cursor declaration, we are passing what now? Parameters. We are passing what now? Parameters. Okay, fine, sir. Later is select, for example, e name and the DPT number from EMP table. Here my condition is what now? I can use condition is what now? Which department number user is entered, that department number, whatever user is entered at a dynamic level, at a runtime level, those value I'm storing under P underscore DEPT number. So now I'm taking P underscore DEPT number. Okay, the parameter I'm passing. Okay, which department number user is entered, that number will storing under parameter, and that parameter I'm passing in my where clause condition. Okay, and that particular department number, employee name, department number, fetching from EMP table, storing into cursor variable. Storing into cursor variable. Same process. I already explained to you the 3 examples. Simple loop example, while loop example, for loop. Same as this. Okay, now? Right. Then after, the 2 variables I'm declaring, guys, here. VE name. So varchar 2 of one size. V underscore department number. It was number of one type. As begin. Now what I want to say, as usual, open C1. And here my dynamically entry purpose I'm taking here dynamic parameter DEPT number. This is what now? Dynamically entry purpose. That means user want to enter department number at runtime level. Okay, now? So that is a purpose. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So after that, as usual, because your department number, suppose if I was enter department number 20, suppose user is enter department number 20. So in department number 20, how many people are there? So many people are there. 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, and 5. 5 people are there. So that means multiple rows are there. 5 people are there in 20th department. That means multiple rows are there. So whenever you want to fetching multiple rows, we can't directly fetch multiple rows now. Just now I explained now. Single row, we directly fetching. But here what happened in department number 20, there are 5 employees are working. That means 5 rows are there. So multiple rows are there. Multiple rows, whenever you need to fetch, whenever we need to fetch, then what happened? Compulsory, we should use any iteration statement, like looping statement, anything you can use. For multiple row fetching purpose, looping statement compulsory. Yes or no? Now I'm using looping statement. What is the looping statement here? So simple loop I'm using. Okay, loop I started simple loop. And after that fetching, fetch the C1, storing into variables, V name, comma, V underscore salary, salary not, what is this? Department number. And after that, yeah, simple loop, what I said, infinity loop. I want to exit. When I want to exit, that's here. When C1 percentile data is not found. Okay, now I already explained to you simple loop how it was working. In my first class only, I will explain to you. Okay, now right. Now come on here. Data is found print on the screen. V underscore name V underscore department number. And finally, end your loop as usual. Okay, close your C1 memory as usual. So this is the same statement. The simple for loop. I already explained to you how it was working internally. Okay, in my first example, I was explaining. So now here observe what it was happening. You can see. Yes, I entered. Careful observe. When I was entered, it was asking to me enter value for P department number. Okay, for example, user was given 20. User is given 20. So dynamically, see, dynamically I'm entering 20. So whatever you enter, this 20, this 20 will storing under this parameter, guys. Carefully observe. This parameter, why we are going to be declaring sir means this parameter we are going to be purpose is what now? Storing purpose. This is storing. Whatever the department value or department number, whatever the department number was given by user, the department number is storing under this parameter. And this parameter, where we substituted in my condition. So this is called a substitution here. This is called a substituting. This is called a substituting. Okay, now right. This is called a substituting. So that means in this, okay, P department number. So that means which number is there, guys? Here 20. Yes or no? 20. And so now what happened? Okay. Next, what happened? Variable declaration. Okay. Begin. Okay. Open. Here open. When it will be open? When this parameter is what purpose I'm going to using here? This is entry purpose. This is dynamically entry. Dynamic entry purpose. Okay. So dynamic entry purpose. So we are dynamically. With the help of this, we are entering here. So once we given dynamically, so that means this connection is open and immediately storing and substituting. And this 20th number data, what 20th number employee names and department names are fetching from EMP table. After fetching from EMP table, those are storing under C1 memory. Okay, C1 memory. Then after looping is started. So fetcher loop is started. This already explained to you. This part already explained to you. Okay, I don't want it again and again explanation. Same execution process, this part. Okay. Fetching first row, storing into variables and checking data is found or not found. Data found. Data found means not found attribute returns false. Then first row is printed. Like how many rows in this 20th department? How many rows are there? First row. First row is printed. Next second row. Second 20 department row printed. Next third 20th department row is printed. Next fourth 20th department is printed. Next fifth 20th department is printed. Okay, now so total 5. After 5 is printed, next one not what happened? Next 20th row is not there. In my cursor, next 20th row is not there. So that means not there means not found attribute returns what now? True. Then what happened? It will be exit. Okay, now same as it is, guys. Okay, right. So now let me see. Enter 20. I was enter 20. So 20th department people displayed now. Scott, Todd, Smith, Adams, and Jones. Okay, like dynamically can change. Now you can go to execute again your program. Now you can send 10. 10 is there. How many people are there in 10? Miller, Clark, and Queen. Next one. 20 is there. So 20 already given. 30 is there. 30 was given. In 30, how many people are there? Total 6 people are there. The 6 people. Suppose are you given here 40. But tell me guys here, 40th people are there in my table. Can you see? 40th department, anybody is there in my table? No. There is a no 40th department employee in my table. So when there is no, that is what happened. The cursor is not having any data because 40th department people is not there. Not there means there is no data related to 40. That's why it was showing what now? Just simply, yes, PLSQL procedure successfully completed. But there is no data empty. So your loop is exit. Empty. Yes or no? So that's why just normally printed. So this is what now parameterized. Okay, cursors. Okay, just what is parameterized cursor means? Just dynamically, whenever you want to enter value to my cursor, then use a parameterized. That is only the thing. Okay, na? So default cursors are not having any parameters. Okay, directly whatever you want to declare, that we are declaring at a declaration level. But parameterized advantage is what now? Your values we are sending at a dynamic level. Okay, now. So other than this, there is no other difference. Execution same, looping same, everything will be same. Default and parameterized, both are same. But only difference is there without parameters, here with the parameters. Okay, we did. Other than this, there is no difference. Understand now? This is how we can passing. Okay, how we can passing parameters along with my cursor. Okay, so these are all our comes under guides here. Explicit cursors it will be comes because of reason. Why sir these all examples comes under explicit cursors means we are declared cursor memory. Okay, the cursor memory declared created by who? User. So that's why we declared, we open, we fetch, and we close. So these are the 4 steps that whatever I said, whenever you want to create my own memory, user defined memory, if I want to create a, so there are 4 steps we need to follow. First, declaration, open, fetching, and closing. So those steps, whenever you want to use, then you remind this cursor is a explicit cursors. Okay, if these 4 statements, whenever you use then you think or you decide here, my cursor is a explicit cursor. That means my own creation of cursor when we are using these 4 steps. Okay, right. So that means these are all are comes under explicit cursors examples. Now, what is the second one, guys? Here, the second one is called as a implicit cursors. Implicit cursors. So, what is implicit cursors, sir? What is implicit cursors means? Here, implicit means system defined. Okay, system defined. Okay, not user defined here. Okay, system defined. So that means these memories are created by system automatically. So your user is no need to declare any cursor variable. User no need to open any cursor. User no need to fetch any data. User no need to close any cursor connectivity. So automatically this will be taken by system. So that's why these cursors are called as a default cursors we call. These are default. Okay, default cursors are called, and this is called a default cursors or default cursor memory also we can say. Okay, and these cursors, why is a default we call means these cursors are created by cursors are prepared by preparing by by the system by system automatically by system automatically. But when sir, when automatically, that means you have a question. So automatically your system is going to be preparing this cursor memory. Okay, now implicit cursor memory is preparing by system automatically. But when sir, when it was prepared means yes, whenever 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 we whenever we perform DML operations. Okay, DML operations. Okay, whenever you perform DML operations on a table, okay, then it will be created. Understand now? So these implicit cursors or cursor memories, that means a system defined cursor memory. When your system is preparing this memory, means whenever user performing DML operations. Okay, whenever we are inserting data into table, then inserting level memory created by system automatically. While updating time, memory created. While deleting time, memory created. So while inserting, while updating, while deleting. So these operations, whenever user performing on table, then internally your system is preparing temporary memory. The temporary memory is called as a implicit cursors. The temporary memory is called as a implicit cursors. Okay, now right. But these implicit cursors through, that means in this implicit cursor memory, what purpose it will be? Okay, what purpose your system is preparing this memory, sir? Means, yeah, the reason is what now? Implicit cursors are telling us, that means in this memory, what kind of information will be stored? Means, okay, in implicit cursors, in implicit cursors, in implicit cursor, okay, it will, okay, it's cursor, it will store as, okay, it will be stored its status of, okay, the status of last DML, okay, last DML command, okay, it will be stored the status of the last DML command, okay, is executed, is executed successfully, is executed successfully or not, is executed successfully or. So that status means what now? The information of your last, that means in your SQL plus editor, which command is a last command, which command is a, because in SQL plus editor we are writing so many commands, right or no? So but which is last DML command is that? So that last DML command is successfully executing or not. So that information will be holding by implicit cursors. Okay, that information is holding by implicit cursors, and from there, okay, the status, that means the information. What is the information? Your last DML command is executed successful or not. Suppose your last DML command is successfully executed, then that information storing, yes, last command is executed. So that information, based on that information, your server will telling that your server will telling to user, yes, your command is successfully executed. So that information, whatever the query after, is it success or fail? Understand my point? Is it success or fail? That information is holding under implicit cursors. The information is holding under implicit cursors. Suppose your execution, that means your query execution successfully done, then successful message sending to user. If your query is not successfully executed, it was showing some error or it was fail, then that error message will showing to user. So that means here, implicit cursors are prepared by system for what purpose? The status will be stored. That means your last DML command, whatever user is performed, that command is success or fail, that information is a holding under implicit cursor memory, and that memory information telling to user, okay, telling to user, sorry, your command is not executed, sorry, your command is not executed, yes, your command is executed. Okay, now so that information is telling us. Okay, now okay, this is what, for example, now if simple example, if you want to understand what exactly means, for example, nowadays we are doing transactions. Come on guys, you just tell me, suppose are you transferring some amount from your account to your friend account or some other account? So by mobile, through online, through something, we are going to be transferring amount. Suppose are you transferring your amount to other account? So that is successfully done. Successfully done means immediately that message will come to your mobile now. Come on, guys. Your transaction successfully done and your amount is successfully transferred to other account. That is called what now? Successful transaction. So successful transaction message will come to your mobile now. Yes or no? Come on. Coming to your mobile or not? Yes, it's coming to mobile. Yes or no? So that means by seeing of that message, customer what he think? Oh, okay, my transaction is successfully done. Okay, my amount is this much cut. Okay, 7,000 rupees cut from my account and transferred to someone's account. Okay, my transaction ID number. Okay, my transaction is successfully done. That is message is coming to users. Suppose you are transferring, but unfortunately your transaction is failed. Now tell me, if your transaction fail also, you will get message now? Yes or no? Get a message or not? Come on, guys. So here the point is what now? My transaction success, I will get a message. My transaction fail, even though I'm getting message. Concept understand? Your transaction success, we are getting message to our mobile. Transaction fail, even though we are getting message. The message is what now? Sorry, your transaction is not completed. Otherwise, your transaction is failed. So please try again. Okay, now this kind of something message will come out. Okay, so here what is the meaning here? Either success or fail, some message I need to pass my customer. Okay, now so banking sector, for example, you are a SBI holder or HDFC holder or ICICI holder. Okay, now or else any website are using to do your transaction. Like for example, nowadays we are using so many like Amazon, Plsql we are using. Suppose Amazon, Flipkart through what we are doing, we are ordering some products. Sometime what happened, your order successfully done, we get a message. Your so and so order successfully completed. So the amount will, the product will be delivered on the so and so date. That message will come out. Suppose are you ordering some product, but unfortunately your transaction is failed. Okay, then even though we are getting one message, your transaction failed. So please try again later. Okay, so that means here success or fail message will come to us. Okay, but how that message is come to us, that was what we called as, guys, here implicit cursors. For example, okay, so how we are getting the message from the database memory, either success or fail. So implicit cursors also same thing. Okay, now when you are doing your operation, that is called a last one, last DML operation, what we are doing in that SQL Plus editor. Okay, then that will be success or fail. That information is holding under implicit cursors, and that information from implicit cursor memory, your database sending to user application, either if it is successful message sending to user. If it is a fail message is sending to user. Okay, now this is what implicit cursors are internally, why it is maintained. Okay, now right. So and this implicit cursors, okay, is also having here the same attributes, guys. Here these attributes, if you see, you can understand attributes of implicit cursors as attributes of implicit cursors. Okay, the first attribute, percentile is open. Okay, percentile is open. So this is all of you know. If connection success, okay, so it will be true. It return true when connection is success. Otherwise, it will be false. Okay, then your connection is failed. That means your cursor connection is failed. Okay, now this is called it is open. Second one is what now? Percentile not found. Percentile not found when it is returns true. When it is returns true means it returns true when your last DML command is failed. Okay, when it is returns true means a true last DML command execution fail. Okay, it returns true. Not found. Not found means your DML command execution failed. So your DML command execution fail means it returns true. That is called a not found attribute. Okay. And it returns false. It returns false. So what is your last DML command? Last DML command execution success. Okay, right. That is one. Second one is what now? Percentile found attribute. Percentile found attribute is completely opposite of your not found. So when it was returns, when last DML command execution is success. Okay, when returns true. When it returns false, when return is false means it returns false when last DML execution is fail. Okay, this is what. Next, percentile row count. Percentile row count attribute. What is my percentile row count attribute means? It returns, okay, number of rows. That means how many number of rows. Number of rows are affected. Okay, how many rows number of rows affected by last DML command. Okay. So for example, okay, suppose are you updating last DML command is updated. So how many rows are updated? 3 rows are 4 rows are 5 rows like this. Suppose your last DML command is a deletion. So how many rows are deleted? 1 row deleted, multiple rows deleted, 3 rows are 4 rows are like this. So these kind of things will be okay written by row count attribute. Okay, so this is what we called as guys. Yeah, these are the attributes of your implicit cursors. Okay, now see one small example I will explain to you on this. Okay, one small example. Let me come back. This is first I will show you my table, right? Select a star from EMP is my table. This is my table data and table. Now I'm going to writing one program. So first declare one variable I'm declaring guys here. V underscore EMP number is one variable I'm declaring. Okay, this is variable declaration. After variable declaration, okay, let you start my execution block. And this variable, that means VEMP number variable, the user need to send it dynamically. For example, I will take a dynamically entry purpose. So ampersand of EMP number. Okay, sir, fine. So after that, what I'm using guys here I'm doing one operation. Which operation? Delete command. Delete is one of the DML command. So delete from EMP. What is my condition? Where EMP number is equals to V underscore EMP number, because one variable we declare now. So this variable we declare or not? Yes. So this variable I'm passing here in my condition. Simple query, DML query. So delete from EMP where EMP number is equals to V underscore EMP number. Okay, fine, sir. After that, suppose here observe. User dynamically entered employee number. So he was entered 7369, otherwise 7566, 7788, whatever it is. So there are 14 employees numbers here. In out of 14 employees number, any number user is entered. Suppose if I entered guys here, say carefully. If I entered, suppose I
Recording in progress.
Yes, it is not executed. So not executed means not executed statement is storing under implicit cursor memory. If it is executed means successful message storing under implicit cursor memory. And that message is sending to users. Understanding now? But now, okay, we entered and that was. Suppose I'm saying what now? Your record is found. Your row is found. Which number you entered, that was found. Found means what I want to display, my query successfully executed. So found means delete command is successfully executed. So delete command successfully executed means which message I want to send it to user, successful message I want to send or fail message I want to send. Come on guys. Your record is found, your command is executed, okay, successfully. Then which message I want to send to user, successful message or fail message? Yes, successful message. But that I want to check now. I want to check. Checking purpose, what I'm using condition. Which condition? If condition. If SQL, if SQL. SQL is nothing but what? Predefined implicit cursor memory name. So explicit cursor name, what I was taken C1. Yes or no? Declare cursor C1. C1 is what now? User defined cursor name. My wish, C1, X1, A1, 2, 1, ABC, whatever you can give, because that is user. But implicit cursors memory defined by who? System. So what is implicit cursor variable? Name is SQL. Understanding na? Understanding na? Explicit cursor name is what? C1. I was created. User wish. C1 or A1 or B1 or T1, whatever you can take. But implicit cursors are created by system with what name? SQL name. With what name? SQL name. Understanding na? So SQL, that is called implicit cursor name. That name SQL. Percentile, what do you want to say? Found attribute. Found attribute, what I said, found attribute return true. When it is written true, when your query is successfully executed, then it return true. Okay. If query is not executed, then it returns false. Okay. So if SQL implicit cursor memory percentile found in this memory, successfully your query is executed, then I have to display dbms underscore output dot put underscore line of what I want to say, success. Okay, simple message, success. Otherwise, suppose user entered some number, but the number is not found in my EMP table. Then what happened? Okay, your query will not executed. So then I want to say else. Else what I want to write now? Yes, else. And I want to say dbms underscore, okay, output dot put underscore line of, what do you say? Not executed. Okay, not executed or executed. Okay, otherwise you have any confusion, you can take user friendly message, whatever you want to take. Okay, na? Right. And now finally, we need to end my if else I'm ending and end my begin statement and to execute it. So what it was saying here, observe. Enter value for EMP number. Okay, now enter 7788. 7788 I entered dynamically. Now tell me, this employee number is found in my table. Tell me guys, this number is there in my table? Yes. There means your delete command is executed or not executed. Executed. Executed means success or failure. Success. Now let me see. It will be displaying success or not. Entered. I entered what it was showing. The deletion is success. The deletion is success. Okay, na? For example, if I enter 1122, 1122 was there in my table. No. No means your delete command is executed or not executed. Not executed. Not executed means what here? My operation is fail. So fail is come now? Yes. So this is the information. So success information or failure information storing under implicit cursor memories. Okay, your command success information or your command failure information holding by your system under implicit cursor memory, and from that memory that information passing to users. From that memory that information passing to users. So this is what we called as, guys, here implicit cursors. Okay, here see, I'm not declaring any cursor, I'm not open any cursor, I'm not to fetch any cursor, I'm not to close any cursor. So I'm not using any user defined statements. These are what now predefined, only just a declaring variable, that's it. Later we are writing our query, and this is your implicit cursor memory name, predefined name. This name cannot be changed. It's a predefined name SQL, because SQL memory, SQL buffer memory, or SQL memory, that is a meaning. So remaining normal query, normal statements, but I'm not using declaration of cursor, open cursor, fetching cursor, closing cursors, we are not using. So that means these cursors are not a user defined. These cursors are called as a what? System defined or predefined cursors, or default cursors we call. Okay, na? So this is implicit cursor user. But implicit cursors what now? Automatically it was happen. So whenever normally if you insert na, then implicit cursor is there internally. When you updated na, implicit cursor is there. When you deleted na, implicit cursor is there. So whenever you performing DML operations, automatically internally implicit cursors are prepared by system, and in that memory your query status, whether success or fail information is storing or holding, and that information passing to your client application. Passing to whom? Client application. Then client will see that message. Okay, success message means client will think, okay, my query successfully done. Failure message will come means the client will telling that, okay, my transaction is failed. Okay, na? So transaction success or fail, what telling by what now? Cursor. Okay, na? Implicit cursor. So these are implicit and explicit cursors, guys. Okay, and tomorrow, that means day after tomorrow, the next class, we will check the next type of cursors. One more type of cursors are there. So those are what that we will see in Monday session. Okay, na? Right, yes. Thank you so much.